Okay, I'm back with another deck today. This one is very heavily on the Planeswalker game plan. This is Azorius Planeswalker Proliferate Infect. Not really any sort of name for this, but it is a very, very cool deck that revolves around the card Ichormoon Gauntlet from Phyrexia All Will Be One. I don't think this card saw very much play in a lot of the decks that I was seeing. But there is a lot of cool things that we can do with it. So this is a 2 and a blue artifact that gives our planeswalkers 2 extra abilities. For 0, we can proliferate, and for -12, we can time walk our opponent. Also, when you cast a non-creature spell, you get to choose a counter on some permanent, and you can put another counter onto that permanent. So luckily, our planeswalkers have loyalty counters, so Ichormoon Gauntlet can add to those. And basically, the name of the game is with a bunch of planeswalkers in play, we're going to be able to proliferate both our planeswalkers' loyalties and a single poison counter that we get from casting Prologue to Phyresis. And essentially, to just stabilize, this deck runs a bunch of Wraths. We have 4 Farewells, 4 Supreme Verdicts, 2 Wrath of Gods, rather, and then 2 Fateful Absences in case we need targeted removal for planeswalkers. And pretty much, this deck just plays a lot of cool planeswalkers. So let's run through those guys real quick. We'll start from the low end with our 2 of Gideon of the Trials. This guy has his emblem that he can give you so that you do not lose the game for having negative life, as long as you control Gideon, so he can kind of help us stabilize if we need to. There is a classic in Narset Parter of Veils. We're just running 3 of these. Rips our opponent's second draws away and allows us to look for deep to find a non-creature spell. Dovin, Hand of Control, can absolutely blank decks that revolve around getting a single large threat into play, so we can blank 1 big creature. There's also the Wandering Emperor that can surprise our opponent and kill one of their big creatures that attacks in. Targeted removal at that, and this can also make creatures. Kasmina is another one that gives us protection for all our planeswalkers and also allows us to make creatures. Then Teferi, Master of Time is another really good one because he can phase things out at instant speed. He'll be able to proliferate our planeswalkers at instant speed with an Ichormoon Gauntlet on the battlefield. There's two Teferi Time Ravelers, the Alchemy version that got nerfed. He's still not too bad if you can hit him onto the battlefield and proliferate with your other planeswalkers. If you have enough on the field, enough separate planeswalkers, that is, you can conceivably just Teferi minus every single time. Every single turn, rather. Then we have Teferi Temporal Pilgrim, which is an absolute loyalty monster, because not only are we going to be proliferating, but whenever we draw, we're going to be putting loyalty counters on Teferi. So this guy's surprisingly good. And then, of course, this is a Planeswalker deck in Azorius. We have to include at least a few Teferis. He is just so busted. And if we can get his -8 emblem, which honestly is not very hard with all of these proliferations going on, we can just run an opponent out of the game. So I do want to make one acknowledgement. This deck is heavily inspired by legacy YouTuber Boshin Rules video on the same topic from a little bit ago at the time of recording. This deck had a very similar theme to it, revolving around Ichormoon Gauntlet and a bunch of very good planeswalkers. This is in Legacy, so obviously they have a couple of other better things like Soldiers to Plowshares, Brainstorm, Minor Misstep, and Dress Down, but we are able to make it work from here in our historic format. So, mana base is pretty split on Azorius. We got some utility lands in Ardenvale and Vantress, and that is pretty much the deck. I have been very surprised with this deck. It's extremely fun to play. And you get to play a lot of the 3 mana or the Spark Planeswalkers that generally don't ever see the light of day. You could do this in a number of different colors if you wanted to. And I'm looking forward to running this deck in, say, a red splash or maybe getting some black-green in there. Who knows? I think there's a lot of things to do in terms of breaking Ichormoon Gauntlet, and I'm just really excited to see it happen today. So let's hop into some games and see if we can do our little combo thing. All right, so our starting hand includes Fateful Absence, double Ickermoon Gauntlet, and then we have a Memory Deluge and Teferi at the 4-drop. So we are in a classic debacle with these blue-white decks where we need to get to our very important 4-mana curve, and if we don't, we might just get run over by aggro. Unfortunately, I don't think this really does it for me. We can answer one creature, but we're going to need to have 2 draw steps that are lands in order to make this work for us. So I think the better way to do this is to mulligan one and hope that we get a bit more in terms of lands. So in this hand, we do have 3 lands, which is pretty good, and we do actually have the Ickermoon Gauntlet. So I'm going to drop Farewell in hopes of using Narset to find the board wipe if we do need it. And let's just go ahead and start moving here. So I am going to need double white for Supreme Verdict, so I'm considering getting a white source off of my Fabled Passage. I think that is probably pretty good, and the rest of these are untapped lands, so that is good. So we'll get our plains here and pass turn. So depending on how they play out their hand, I'm going to either drop a Narset first or get the Ickermoon Gauntlet out. Not totally sure how I'm going to do this yet. Vantress is actually a tapped land in this case since I didn't fetch a island. We lose our graveyard, so they do have some graveyard hate. Luckily, we do not care very much about that. Now, if I were to play a Narset, I can minus her for free, and then next turn play Ickermoon Gauntlet and start going. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'll play the island, and then here is a Narset. I go ahead and let her get in and immediately minus her, so in case she dies, we have gotten a little bit of worth out of this. And the question is, do I take a Prologue or a Supreme Verdict? So surprisingly, this deck can hang pretty well once you get a critical mass of things out, so I don't think I need the Prologue right away. I do want to have that worst case Supreme Verdict. I don't want to be using my Memory Deluge to be like in a pinch to try to like find things. So I'm going to take Supreme Verdict. And unless they play a creature here, I'm just going to minus Narset again and play a Teferi. So they know I have a Supreme Verdict. This is a Nighthawk Scavenger deck, so if I take away Narset, that'll be a problem. What I can do, however, is Teferi minus and then get the Nighthawk out of there. That also draws me a card, and now I can Narset into another card. We will find a second Supreme Verdict or Teferi. We are going to have the 5th mana to play Teferi, so I'm going to take him. Now let's see what they play. If it's a creature... Okay, so we're going to lose Teferi. That's okay. Not too bad, and I mean, we kind of just have another Teferi here, which is pretty good. Nothing to do with the... nothing to do with our untapped mana, but we can go ahead and fake like we do have a counter spell. We have backup Narset next turn, but I'm thinking that getting Ickermoon Gauntlet is probably the move. We actually do have Farewell, which is good now. I'm going to get another white source since we don't have too many of those. And I can do a backup Narset if I wanted to, or I could Farewell, or I could Memory Deluge, or I could play another Teferi. I think I'm going to play another Teferi. We're going to go ahead and make... Oh, opponent just decides to get out of here. So I was going to make a creature with Teferi, and then we were going to just hopefully be able to slam an Ickermoon Gauntlet at some point, and then with 3 Planeswalkers on here, we could have just proliferated 3 times in a turn. And I think that would have ended this opponent's life anyway. So cool, that was a great start. On to round 2. Alright, it's round 2, and we are stuck in the same issue as last game, where we have a 2-lander. I kind of want to keep this one, though I don't have my 2 lands and I don't have my board wipe. I think if this hand came with a board wipe, I'd be okay with using the prologues to cycle for new cards. I'm going to mulligan again. We have 3 things here. I think I'm going to keep this, and then we do have Memory Deluge to go find our board wipes. And so this time we do have the prologue in our opener. And we're playing against a red deck, okay. I'll drop out a Hollowed Fountain tapped and let our opponent go. Looks like they have a shock. Play with fire, sure. The strictly better shock. Viashino, so this is just mono red, it looks like. So I am going to be out here looking for a... I should not have played that land. I should have played an untapped land. Well, now I got to shock this, which shortens my lifespan. Alright, whatever. If we can find the board wipe, then we're going to be okay, so... Worst case, we lose by a turn, and then I feel bad about myself. So what do they play on 3 mana here? It's going to be a Skewer the Critics for 1. Will there be any more than that? Because I am looking like I'm almost dead. It may not have mattered, that Hollowed Fountain shock. Okay, so they're going to let me go. We give them a poison counter, and we can conceivably race them to a poison kill. I'm going to have 3 mana next turn, which is pretty much just an Ickermoon Gauntlet, unless I draw Planeswalker. That sucks. Okay. So we know what their next play is. We really need a board wipe, actually. We are going to need to draw one of our 4 mana board wipe. So it's a 6 card draw out of 51 cards. We got about a 10% chance of making it here. We drew our second farewell. That's not good. Well, here's Ickermoon. And what happens next turn, basically I'm going to lose to any sort of damage to the face spell. I could conceivably have 1 extra turn. So they're going to play Bone Crusher this turn probably, hit me for 2, and then next turn I'm dead. So yeah, I actually do have to draw this no matter what. Alright. It's now or never. Wizard's Lightning is also bad, so now any sort of thing does it, and we are just dead. They're going to take us down to 0. So, I mean, I would have been at 1 life after this. I would have gotten my 1 draw. Unfortunately, MTGA doesn't let us see the top of the library. I wish that's something that we could do viewing the battlefield, but maybe they'll add it at some point. Anyway, so we are 1-1 after 2 rounds. Let's move on to round 2. Alright, round 3. Let's get a good hand here. This is not it at all. 3 things over 5 mana with only 2 lands. Here are 3 pieces of mana. We do have the Fateful Absence and Ickermoon Gauntlet. I think I'm going to drop Hero of Dominaria, I think. I'm going to drop Dominaria. Let's do that. So let's drop this out, and then next turn we have the opportunity to Fateful Absence. Otherwise, we'll just play an Ickermoon Gauntlet on 3, and then hopefully be on Teferi by turn 4. Nice Gix sleeves with a Shield Druid Avatar. I imagine this is mono black discard, if I had to make a guess. We'll see what they play. Okay, it's actually mono white life gain. Okay. Well, I think in that case, I'm going to play this on white, so we have double white, and then we have Fateful Absence next. I think the Bishop of Wings is a better kill than Speaker of the Heavens. It's going to be really important for us to avoid our opponent getting to a high life total. Voice of the Blessed is actually, I think, something I want to kill now. So if I kill it now, it won't get bigger. But then they could play like Righteous Valkyrie next turn, and then I'm like really not happy about myself. But then the Voice of the Blessed like is just such a aggressive card that I don't think I can avoid it. When I kill Voice, I'll let Speaker live. They do get to investigate, which I don't like. And we do find our 4th land. That's really good. I'll be able to phase something out potentially. And yeah, so maybe let's just drop a Teferi next turn. It's another Voice. Oh no. Well, thankfully we can at least phase it out. I think Teferi is just going to end up being a casualty here. Their Voice is going to get a little bigger. And we're going to have to take 2 life here with the Hollowed Fountain. No, we're not, because we drew a Fabled Passage. So let's find a blue mana source, which I'm typically more happy to keep. Those ones. Let's see. Will they let me do it? They're at 22 life. I wonder what they could be holding up priority-wise. I said I was getting a blue mana source, so we'll do that and play Teferi. I'm going to choose my Ichormoon Gauntlet because I don't want to give their Voice of the Blessed another counter. Wonder what they're holding priority on. It needs to be a 1 mana thing. So we are going to either draw a card and discard a card or proliferate. I think I'm going to draw discard because I need to look for that board wipe. And I think I'll just get rid of a Hallowed Fountain or a Dark Heart Wastes. Probably the Wastes for now. Nah, I'll get rid of the Wastes. Okay, so we have another Ichormoon Gauntlet in case they destroy our current one, but essentially that's a dead card right now. Let's see what happens. Okay. Should I phase out their creature? That basically means that they get to trade here. I'm going to let them attack first. I think it's okay. Now, I believe if I phase it out at any point, it's going to be okay. So if they go in at me with Speaker, then I will just let that happen. So they're going in. This means I'm going to just go ahead and draw discard so that he can survive. And we just got to hope we find a board wipe at some point. Oh, Kasmina's good. I like to see her. So, let's see. Teferi goes to 1 loyalty. The voice is going to get bigger now, which is a problem. It's still on the ground as of now. So unless they can gain life, this is potentially okay. So I'm going to draw discard. I want to get rid of the Hallowed Fountain first. Farewell, that is good. So maybe I do need to play not the Kasmina. I'm going to get rid of the Kasmina. I want to play Narset and look for a board wipe. This is going to come in tapped. And then now if I draw a land, I can Farewell. Okay, so we can at least get another counter onto Teferi. There's a chance he might survive. We're probably just going to have to get rid of the Voice of the Blessed. So I'm going to Narset minus. And we got to find something good here. Memory Deluge is the only choice, so we're going to take that. Now, we may lose all of our Planeswalkers, but we are going to be able to get this Farewell off. This is an enchantment, which is good. Ichormoon Gauntlet being an artifact is good unless we're playing against an artifact combo deck. Another Ajani's Pridemate, that's totally fine for me. So I don't think I want to phase out anything. Narset, okay. Narset will die. Teferi's going down a little bit, so I'm going to draw discard, I think. He's going to stay at 3 loyalty. We got a Teferi. That's pretty good. Can I rationalize keeping the Teferi, though, is the issue. I think Memory Deluge needs to be there to be safe. I don't think I can keep the Teferi. As much as I want to. Like, if I don't draw that land, I'm going to be kind of stuck here after they go for my creatures.
This used to be easy.
I shall miss your company.
Alright, so their board is going to get a little bigger. Will they play another spell? They will not. So we drew another Farewell. Yikes. Let's start with a Teferi Master of Time. Draw discard. Almost certainly getting rid of the Farewell. So this is actually good now. Memory Deluge taking a land means that I'll have Fable, Fateful Absence to play after. So I'm going to cast this main phase. We get to get another counter on Teferi. And then when we kill Voice of the Blessed... Okay, so let's see. Another Farewell is good. Prologue is going to be good. So Fabled Passage is 100% one of these takes. And Prologue, I guess, since it can redraw us. Yeah, let's do it. Here's Fabled Passage, and we'll go ahead and fetch a blue source. Let's do a white source so that I have 4 sources of each color of mana. Alright, and so now we have Fateful Absence or Prologue, depending on how they do stuff. Now, the sequencing on this is going to be a little interesting. If I Prologue, that's a draw as well, so I can use that as my discard for Teferi. Okay, so they're just deciding to go big here. If they mostly go and try to kill Teferi, that's really good for me, and I'm going to get my Farewell out next turn. So wait till they attack, and then what do I want to keep out of this? Am I okay taking 5 damage? I think I'm okay taking 5 damage, quite honestly. But then I'll lose Teferi. That kind of sucks. Will the investigation be okay to do? I don't need to Prologue right now. That's kind of just silly. So let me draw a discard with Teferi, see if I want to do something different. I think I'm probably keeping these 3 cards almost no matter what I draw. Yeah, I don't need this Teferi. I can't take a Planeswalker right now. Let's go ahead and kill the Voice of the Blessed. I'm going to get another counter on Teferi. So Teferi is getting up there, which is nice. And after this Farewell, our opponent's going to be in a bit of a pickle. We have 6 mana, getting very close to casting Memory Deluge. Oh, they're giving it protection. Okay, so I'm going to lose Teferi just barely. They do not get their clue token, though. Bummer. Okay, so we're down to 13, but the board is about to be clear. Okay. So yeah, this is easy Farewell. So we are going to kill everything that's not artifact. So not artifact, creature, enchantment, graveyard. That doesn't hit me, does it? Yeah, we're good. And I'm not going to use my graveyard, but they have demonstrated that they do. I will give their Johnny's Pride Mate a little counter. Enjoy. Hexproof and Indestructible. Alright. That actually doesn't do anything. Enjoy not having that card anymore. So they have just made themselves Hellbent for some reason. Okay, and now we have our 2 Prologues in hand. And they do get to draw through the clue. And do they find a playable creature? No, they just find a land. That's really good for me. So here is a Prologue. And now we start to get moving here. I'm going to always just choose Ichormoon with that. There's our Supreme Verdict, like way too late. Let's give them another counter. I wish I could be doing this when I had a Planeswalker on the battlefield, but oh well. Now if we just draw lands for the next 13 draws, then we lose. Opponent at least has been drawing their own lands, and now we got a Gideon. Yay. So nothing to do there. And I will just go ahead and Proliferate, because that both gives Gideon a counter and my opponent a poison counter. I don't think I'm in danger of having to discard, so I'm going to play that land and Castle Vantress next turn. Now we are in the driver's seat. Okay, they're passing through. They're going to hit Gideon once, I imagine. They're going for the face. Okay. So, yeah, Wandering Emperor. That's a good one. I'm going to go here, and let's see. I'll probably just do Wandering Emperor now. We're going to get a blocker out. Gideon gets a counter. I'm going to minus to make a Samurai. I don't care that there's Soul Wardens there. And I'm going to Proliferate now. Eventually I'll do the Gideon Emblem, but for now they're taking 2 poison a turn. So it's kind of on them to start to do stuff. They're going to take a Planeswalker. Okay. I can remove their borrowed time. And now I can actually exile it, which is even better. So should I do that now? I mean, yeah, this is kind of a route to victory for me. So Graveyard, Enchantment, Creature. You know what? Let's be a little bit better about this and go to combat first. I do want to kill their Soul Warden because that is a way that they can win the game. Alright, they're going to give me the damage, and so we're going to do everything but artifact. So it is creature, enchantment, graveyard, done. We get to put another counter on Emperor. And there is Mr. Gideon back, and here we go. We're just going to proliferate. Bam, bam. 2 more, so they have... It's a 2-turn clock. I think we're going to have this one. Sarah Ascendant becomes a 6/6. Unfortunately, it is dead. And I think we got this one here. Proliferate. Proliferate. Fast turn. And they're dead on my turn now. I don't think any one card could win the game for them. Cleric class is actually kind of close, but they need 9 mana to reanimate anything. So we have it here. Looks like we have just barely survived. We were looking a little bit tough there with that big creature that they had. Anyway, so 1 more proliferate from each one of these guys. And there it is. Our opponent has 10 poison counters, and we've done it pretty much without combat. What a cool deck. That is 2-1 after 3 rounds. Let's move on to round 4. Okay, it's round 4, and we have a tougher hand to think about. This one really wants me to get to 4 lands. When I do get to 4 lands, it's going to operate really, really well. Unfortunately, we don't have any 3-mana planeswalkers, but maybe our prologue to Phyresis draws us one. We just really, really need to get that 3rd and 4th land out. I'll try it. Why not? I'm going to keep 7 here. Let's go. So the question is, do I Fabled Passage off the bat? And with a Goblin Trap Finder here, I don't know, I guess why not? I'm going to take a 2nd white. Come on, let me click magic. Alright, Hallowed Fountain Shock for prologue. Well, if they're just playing Trap Finders, I don't really care, because I don't have a... Oh, okay. So it's goblins, huh? 3 mana or less. What could you be trying to find? Just answers, it looks like. I'm not going to shock this. I'm going to just use turn 3 to play my prologue. And I got to draw land here in order to really start to function. This is thankfully not the most aggro thing that I could think of playing against right now until I see the Runevelt Hordemaster. And okay. Yeah, it's about to get real. Alright, so yeah, we really need to find this board wipe here. I mean, sorry, these lands. Alright, I at least see a mountain off the top. I'm gonna play something here. Yeah, that makes sense. This is a cool take on goblins. Runevelt Hordemaster and Trap Finder. Really good with Skirk Prospector, as it turns out. Okay. Well, we got our work cut out for us here, and we don't draw the land. This is going to need to be a land. Oh, it's not a land. It's at least something I could maybe cast next turn, but Dovin is not the move. Teferi, the 5 mana one, looking not too playable right now. Oh, it's another Hordemaster. Oh, we're just dead. Yeah. Dang. Okay. That's exactly lethal. Okay, now it's more than lethal. Wow. That was fast. So that was a turn 4 kill with goblins. Not unheard of, for sure. But this is definitely a different version of the goblin deck than I'm used to seeing. The Trap Finder Skirk Prospector with Runevelt Hordemaster. That's a really interesting synergy. Maybe I'll have to play this at some point. I wonder if it's better than my traditional mono red goblins. Anyway, that was round 4. We got 1 more to play here. Let's move on to that round and try to finish strong. Alright, final round. Here we go. This is So tempting, but I don't think I can work off of 2 lands. If that last hand was any example. Another 2-lander. We're going to have to go down to 5 here. I think I'm going to take Wandering Emperor and Supreme Verdict. And yeah, as long as we don't die on turn 4, we're okay. Fateful Absence does help a lot. Oh lord, it's Rogue Mill. We might have problems here. Mercurial Spell Dancer. Oh, very cool. Okay, so we're gonna kill that thing right away. Pay 2 life. We want to get up and under these guys as soon as possible. It's a good thing that we have Supreme Verdict specifically as our board wipe, since it can't be countered, and we know that this deck is gonna have a lot of it's gonna have a lot of Drown in the Locks, but now they're just gonna take it with Thoughtseize. Wow. It looks like they kept a 2-lander though, so maybe they can get stuck on 2 lands. They do. Okay, so I mean that's kind of the thing that could have helped me the most, and now we are stuck on 3. I think that they are going to be able to work a lot more on 2 lands than we can on 3. Yeah, and we're already starting to mill. We do get our land. That's huge. So now we have Wandering Emperor to take out either Thieves Guild. Thieves Guild. This triggers on attack in general. So we're going to get milled for 2 no matter what. At least we can save a little bit of damage and mill at the same time. I'm happy to do that. We do have Teferi next turn. But we need to actually just get moving before they get their 3rd land. Like, this is prime time to be able to get things resolved on the battlefield, but we're just not able to do it right now. And now we have an issue where Soaring Thought Thief is there. I think I just need to wait until their turn. Well, they're going to untap first, so I can't stop them in their upkeep and kill the Soaring Thought Thief. I'd have to kill it now. Well, let's go ahead and jam Wandering Emperor, and then a Teferi can get through in the case that they counter it. We'll see if they play something now. I mean, I could also just play... Yeah, okay, that makes sense. We'll end my turn, see if they play anything on my end step. We still have the opportunity to Wandering Emperor them. They're going to Surveil. Okay. I'll let that happen. They play another Thieves Guild Enforcer. She actually doesn't do too much now. Well, if they attack, I'm going to kill something. We're at 38 cards, not really in any worry just yet. We're going to let them draw. Wait till their end step to do something. They attack. I'm going to Wandering Emperor first. See if that eats that Drown in the Lock. I think it will. There it is. Now we do have Teferi next turn. Lost Ichor-Moon. And we'll have to eventually see how many Ichor-Moons are in the bin. Prologue doesn't do anything. We're going to Teferi. He protects us from a lot of stuff. However, I do just need to get Thieves Guild out, but that doesn't do too much. I guess I need the card draw. Okay, Farewell's good. Can't play it, but it's good. And they're going to need to try to kill me here. I need to be able to resolve the board wipe, which is kind of funny since I'm just staring down a single creature. We lose to Fairy, and they must be holding up another Drown in the Lock. I have to play Teferi no matter what though, and then we need to just set up a Farewell turn. Okay, Thoughtseize, and we lose Farewell. Whoa, they take Prologue. Okay. That's the wrong one, if you ask me. Alright, so now an untapped land. Darn, we just milled one. Okay, cleared a non-land. Now we gotta hope this is a land. It's a Teferi, shit. Okay, well, we
Right on
can.
schedule.
We're gonna die next turn unless I tuck the Thieves Guild.
You need to slow down.
Okay, I'm just getting a turn here and there to try to stabilize. They found their third land. I am absolutely screwed here. That unlocks a lot of more counter spells that they probably have in hand.
Suppose that's what it was meant.
Oh, with insult to injury, it's another farewell. Yikes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just be dead here. We're also down to 20 cards in deck. Let's take a quick surveil of the graveyard. Okay, a Fateful Absence is actually one of the better draws. So I see 3 Supreme Verdicts. Yeah. And just a mishmash of Planeswalkers. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to their turn. Another Soaring Thought Thief. I mean, I have to just kill one of these things. They may have a Spell Pierce or something like that. Or a Drown in the Lock. Actually, no, they only had 1 mana up. It couldn't be Drown in the Lock. Okay. Feel like we're just drowning here. Prologue. Main phase that, try to find a... Narset is actually exactly what I wanted. I think Narset dies though. Yeah. Yeah, Archmage's Charm. Bummer. And then we're just dead to a Soaring Thought Thief attack. Alright, and they get to see our second farewell. Now that they know all the cards are on the table, we can go ahead and just concede there. Tough one. We were just not able to claw advantage as fast as we needed to. We pretty much had the opportunity there. Like, they were stuck on 2 lands for so long. But, oh well. This deck needed to have that Supreme Verdict resolve, and our opponent was just able to clip that with Thoughtseize. So, I mean, all fair play to them. Good job. And, yeah, so we've gotten to see this deck work a little bit at the very least. Got 1 win, I think, with Poison. So, that was... Actually, you know what? Let's play 2 more games. I really like this deck. I'll see you in round 6. Okay. We are in round 1 of our extra rounds. And we have 3 mana with the Ichor Moon. I'm going to try to keep this and get it to Fairy out. I'll probably just fetch blue with Fabled Passage. I know this thins my deck, but I'd like to not be stuck on a tapped 3rd mana source if I don't draw. Temple of Deceit. So we're seeing blue-black again. Hopefully this is not the same deck that we just played. Though I don't think Rogues is going to be running a lot of tapped lands. They like what they see. And we do find our 4th mana source. I think I'll probably just shock the Hollowed Fountain on 4. Another Hollowed Fountain. Wow. It's a party. Here's Ichor Moon Gauntlet. Hopefully that makes it through a Spell Pierce. It does. So now we don't need the backup one unless they remove this. 3 mana. What do they play? It is actually Rogues, surprisingly enough. They're gonna cast a Mill Spell? No, it's a Winged Words. Okay, Wrath of God is good. Let's pay 2 life into Fairy Master of Time. Nothing to put a counter on. Do I want to proliferate or draw discard? What am I not happy with keeping? Maybe Farewell? Yeah, let's get rid of Farewell unless we draw another land. Well, okay, it's a Farewell. At least we cleared that from the top of the library. And I think we'll just do that one more time and get rid of the other Farewell then. See if we can improve the card quality in our hand. They're going to destroy the Gauntlet, maybe? Now I feel better about having the second one in hand. If they do destroy it. Alright. Blood Chief's Thirst, so I'm going to go ahead and... Should I phase out the Merfolk? I don't think so. I'm going to just draw this card. Supreme Verdict is better than Farewell for this matchup, I think.
I'll just come back yesterday.
And maybe it's going to be a little slow for us. Oh yeah, and that's right, that mills us. Okay, Wandering Emperor, that's good. We can have that enter tapped, and then the question is, do I want to flash it in now or later? I think they're going to attack with the Wind Robber right now. The question is, will they counter that? They can counter it with a Drown in the Lock, so let me get this out now. Nothing to put counters on. We're going to do the minus so that it feels bad when they try to destroy it. So we are under the 8 cards in library, or 8 cards in graveyard threshold still. So now I think we just got to use Wandering Emperor to try to pump out some little creatures. I can play a Necromoon Gauntlet next turn simply for getting the loyalty on Wandering Emperor to have it minus. Soaring Thought Thief. I'm like considering Wrath of Godding this turn. I do have a Teferi. Teferi's kind of huge. We have exactly 5 cards in graveyard. Should I Verdict to keep the Emperor alive? I can Wrath of God, but if they destroy that, then I'm kind of out of luck in terms of the Wandering Emperor. Eek. Let's play Wrath of God. It does still take up the Emperor on cast. So we'll see if they counter this. I think they must have Drown in the Lock. They have a very suspicious amount of mana left up. Looks like it's gonna happen. Alright, at least that baits out a Drown in the Lock. I'm honestly not too bad on losing that. Go ahead and just +1, submitting 0. We don't need to show them that we're proliferating, that we're using that. Okay, on their turn it's a Soaring Thought Thief. This seems like something I want a Supreme Verdict on. Can also create a 2/2. Mill 4. Okay, so at the risk of getting Thoughtseize, I'm probably playing this next turn. Do they have creatures though? Like, they could totally be slow rolling me. Maybe I just want to play the Teferis first. I mean, I'm going to start taking 6 a turn. Like, the Teferi plus doesn't help me. If I play either of these, they just don't survive the turn. It has to be Supreme Verdict. Like, this just doesn't feel good to do, though. And I know that as soon as I do this, they're just gonna, like, redeploy all their creatures. And it's gonna suck. Okay. A creature surely comes down now. Or they, like, redraw into something. Yeah, Brazen Barber, that's, like, just as bad. Though I guess I am happy that I played Supreme Verdict instead of something else. If I bounce it with Teferi, I can either bounce it with Teferi and draw a card trying to get my Farewell going, or I can tuck it with Big Teferi, and then we don't have to deal with it for a while. I think Big Teferi is going to eat a counterspell more, so I'm going to cast him. Yep. Okay. Now the question is, how many of these cards are actually counterspells in their hand? We take 3 here. It's about a 5-6 turn clock. Got another Teferi. This one doesn't really do too much either. I mean, I'm just gonna start eating through their counter spells until they have no more. Eventually they're gonna run out, right? Luckily for us, once we stick a thing on the board, then we're looking kind of good. Uh-oh. They must have a counter spell here. I'm gonna have to go for the farewell play, almost. Oh boy. Now we have a big choice to make. Is it farewell? They've kept 3 mana up. So what did they play last turn? They just played a Call of the Death Dweller. That means they didn't have any creatures in hand, which means that they likely just have counter spells or 1 counter spell. So what should I do? If I bounce with Teferi, it doesn't matter. So say they have a counter spell. I'm going to play Teferi, it gets countered. The next turn, maybe a farewell goes through. If I farewell now, they counter it. I take 6. Then Teferi doesn't really do anything, and then I still die. So I'm going to play Teferi first with the hopes of getting like a farewell actually resolved. It does resolve. Okay. So do I proliferate? I'm probably just minusing Teferi. I don't want to bounce Brazen Borrower. It has to be Soaring Thought Thief.
Don't worry, I got this.
That actually didn't matter at all. I can actually use Prologue to both draw me a card and put a counter onto Teferi in case they think that they just want... Oh, they actually didn't even cast their Soaring Thought Thief last turn. I think this probably goes face. Okay, Farewell is going to blow them out now. Oh, they've even tapped out. So I'm going to Prologue unless they use Brazen Borrow to attack Teferi. Okay. Well, Teferi's going to die. Doesn't really matter. Might as well give him that counter anyhow. Okay, another land. I mean... Like, literally, we get blown up by Spell Pierce, and that's it, I think. Oh, Supreme Verdict. I should play around Spell Pierce here, because I'm just dead otherwise. Okay. Okay, we have something going on here. Double Ickermoon just for fun. Now, if they play some creatures out, we do have a Farewell. That's sure something. Does this, this is just creatures? Yeah, so why don't I just tuck it with the fairy? Okay. We're tucking the worm. Them drawing that again does not matter. And now I can Memory Deluge and Farewell, and both of those put counters onto Teferi. God dang it, man. Rankle? Sheesh. What are the odds? So now they're wondering if they need to just push damage, which means that they probably don't think that they can deal enough damage. Okay. This is good for me. So they're going to try to just push my life total. So I imagine we're going to draw a card. Yep. And that's going to be bad for them because I'm going to eat your Rankle. So I have a total of 7 mana. I can Narset and Memory Deluge. That grows to Fairy a lot, and I can bounce Rankle, but that doesn't really matter. Oh, is it a Memory Deluge play with Narset, or is it a Farewell play? Do I think they have a counter spell? I'm going to go to 1 potentially if Rankle stays. But even if they counter it, I can still bounce with the Fairy. So we're going to start this first. Trigger, trigger. See how they respond. They're going to let me have it. I'm going to immediately activate Narset. I don't need to proliferate yet. I need to stabilize the board first. So I'm taking targeted removal or obviously a Supreme Verdict works.
With thoughtfulness.
Fateful Absence, yeah, that's the one. This means that I can Fateful Absence. Put some stuff under Teferi. Now I can bounce Rankle. Even if they counter this. That's good. Okay, so I correctly played around that. Go ahead and tuck Rankle. So now their Massacre Worm, if they do decide to play that, is just all of their mana. We have a chance. Okay. Play this, it's going to come in tapped, and now let's look with Narset.
I have just the trick for this.
Supreme Verdict. Okay. So I have 7 mana. I'll still be able to tuck Massacre Worm with Teferi if I fare well. They have a bunch of cards in graveyard and potentially could play them back, so I think I just want to do this. This is going to be creatures, enchantments, graveyards. Done. Put counters on Teferi. Teferi can still minus. Okay. So they do not have stuff to do. We're going to start proliferating. Submit 3. They got 2 counters. What happens next? So they can play creatures in, but they're going to run into Memory Deluge. I will go ahead and just start proliferating. Okay, so next turn already I can start minusing, or I can ultimate Teferi. Rankle comes in. Memory Deluge. They have to attack Teferi. They could go face. They could go face. They're gonna go face. I can't draw a card right now. I cannot draw a card right now. Got a total of 8 mana. I'll Memory Deluge and try to find an answer. Teferi's net 9 loyalty. This is exciting. They're letting this resolve manually, it looks like. Do they counter this? If I were them, I'd counter this, quite honestly. I need to find instant speed removal. Well, Memory Deluge and... Do I need more mana? I don't really think so. Maybe just a Farewell. I'm not too happy keeping the Farewell. I will go Memory Deluge again, trying to set this up. I mean, the Teferi Ultimate's really good. Fortunately, I don't have things that draw a lot of cards. They're going to counter this. Maybe they have Spell Pierce. They're really thinking. So they have a counter spell of some sort. What happens here? They let it resolve. Dovin. Dovin is good here. Teferi is also good here. Yeah, I'm going to just get going with these. We go to 2. We're going to draw another card. They do not draw. Okay, we get to go to our turn. I'm going to minus Teferi.
Farewell.
So we can now kill a creature at instant speed with Prologue. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. So 4, 7, 8, 9. That's good. We're going to proliferate. I'm going to cast Dovin first. We're going to go for a second Teferi Ultimate, I think. Something gets countered here. They're going to cancel this. Okay, so now we are free to do what we want. I'm going to Teferi. Another Teferi. Another Teferi. I am going to just proliferate. They're at 6 poison counters. Oh, I was supposed to draw a card. I can do it with prologue. But I have to do it now. Shoot. Oh, wait. I might have just done it to myself. No, they don't have anything with haste unless they draw Rankle. Oh, no. Well, they're dead next turn at the very least. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I don't have double Teferi Emblem, unfortunately. Let's get rid of Rankle. Okay. It's now or never. What happens? Does something with haste come down? Otherwise, we've won this game. We might have done this. They're taking a long time to think about it. Maybe they're slow rolling me, or maybe they've just alt F4'd. Alright, what could they have? I see 1 cancel. Drown in the lock, drown in the lock, drown in the lock. 3 drown in the locks. 2 cancels. They don't have anything they can reanimate. They might just be gone here. Well, if they've forfeited, I will see you in a little bit. Oh, they are here. Okay. And they get countered by Narset. I'm going to take away one of their lands, and now we just have abilities that kill them. Oh my gosh. That was one heck of a game. We survived a very, very interesting Dimir control deck. That was a lot of fun. All right. So that was our bonus round 6. We have one more bonus round to go. I think I'm going to go to round 7. Here we go. Let's finish strong. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm taking a 1-lander for round 7. We'll mulligan this one. We've got 2 mana here. Oh, yeah. We have all the board wipes in the world, though. And a prologue to maybe find a 3rd land. I am going to not take the bait here, and I'm not taking something with less than 3 lands. So this also has 2 lands. However, we do have Supreme Verdict, Wrath of God, and a Gideon to just kind of just chill. Okay, I think this is not great, but at least it's something. So we're going to take... I'm going to take the double board wipe, actually. Which means that this needs to fetch a white source. And here I go again, thinning my deck when I'm actively looking for another land. We embrace the chaos over here at full control. Alright, there we go. We're going to get a blue source here, so now we're covered for everything. And okay, we can kind of breathe a sigh of relief here. Blue-green, very cool. Geist Chandler, uh-oh. This might be bad. Let's play a Gideon. We're going to start preventing... Actually, let's not prevent damage. Let's get that Gideon emblem to start. He'll go to 2, and then I can lock up this Geist Channeler. Okay. Does a creature come down now, is the question. So Gideon can handle 2 creatures. Oh, we don't get another land. I'm going to just start ticking Gideon up. He's my only hope.
It's just you and me.
Solundi Vision. Wow, that's kind of cool. For 1, that's sick. Wow. Discover the formula. Okay, so this is really interesting. This is just a discounted instance in sorceries. So I wonder if they storm off in this deck. Okay, wow. So they can discover the formula soon. Flying Death Touch. A land here is just absolutely great. Unfortunately, we don't find it. I'm going to just prevent damage from one of these things. Gideon is going to eventually die now, but once we get a mana, we're looking good. Okay. All it takes is a land. There's a land. Going to plus him. So we're going to take at least 2 damage here with Gideon. So I am okay with getting a Wrath of God countered. And then I'll know if I need to Supreme Verdict next turn. They could actually have Frilled Mystic. That'd be kind of funny. Wow, okay. Yeah, so Supreme Verdict about to be very useful. I hope they play another creature. Discover the formula. Is that an instant? That is. We'll just continue to do this. I mean, Gideon can just soak up that damage and then I can get a Memory Deluge off. I think I'm actually okay with that. We'll find our 5th mana hopefully through that. Yeah, discover the formula. I figured that was the one that they chose. Maybe I just Memory Deluge now? No, I want to test their hand for a counter spell. Okay. I kill Gideon. Memory Deluge. So this is just like some flash deck. Is that right? Is this gonna happen? Okay, we get Dovin, Prologue, and a land. I want to take a Plains. Going to... I can like fight their discounting with a Dovin. I think I want the instant speed spell, don't I? Yeah, I can play Gideon and then have this up. Alright, here's a Gideon. Would you like to counter it? Okay, we're back to this gameplay. Alright, what are they flashing on my end step? Maybe I do need to just prologue now. Draw 2 cards, you may put a land down. Three more mana. Representing another counterspell, Quandrix Command. They're returning Geist Channeler. I can't do anything about that. Gideon lives to see another day. Oh no, he doesn't. He's dead. Okay. Are they gonna play Geist Channeler now? Yeah, if they play Geist Channeler and something else, then I just have to kill their board. Yo, it's a Tameo? What the heck? Okay. So now I gotta find a Fateful Absence. Okay, it's prologue. Can they counter this? With what card? Okay. My turn. Is this gonna be a Supreme Verdict play? Oh, farewell, we're one away. Okay. This is difficult. Should I just get rid of their Tameo? Tameo costs at least 4 mana. With mana value X from your graveyard, so they can bring back a Quandrix Command. I really need to get a Farewell to resolve, so I should try to bait out a counterspell this turn. Then maybe Wandering Emperor, is it? Because I want to leave all this crap on the battlefield. Yeah, I'll wait till they attack. Okay, a lot of decisions to be making here. Okay. Let them attack, then we're gonna Wandering Emperor. Probably it's a counter spell, given that they still have 7 cards in hand. No, it doesn't. Alright. Get rid of that Needlethorn Drake then.
Let me show you.
They haven't really been committing to the board too much.
My judgment is final.
Okay, this is some exile thing. Wow, this is a crazy discount deck. They have 4 mana left. I think whatever I cast next gets countered. Let's tick up the Wandering Emperor. Submit 0. When is the correct time to get rid of a Supreme Verdict out of my hand? I do not know. Might be now. Very well could be now. I could try to Teferi, bounce Cemetery Prowler. If I Supreme Verdict now, then the Wandering Emperor can protect herself, and maybe I get an Ickermoon Gauntlet out. This is a really weird position to be in. If I play Teferi and he gets countered, then I just lose everything. And yeah, there's this whole Tamio's Notebook thing, which sucks. Maybe I just gotta play Teferi and try to get rid of Tamio. I'm gonna start to get snowballed. Okay, cool. I'm gonna tuck Tamio, get her out of there. Oh, maybe they have something to say about that. Hexproof and indestructible. Wow, Tamio's safekeeping. This is kind of sick. This is a really cool Tamio themed deck. Yeah, Tamio the Explorer or whatever she does. I don't know, I'm not too caught up on the Magic lore. Okay, another Quandrix command. This Farewell really needs to land for me. Yikes. Okay, so they just wanted this Tamio's Notebook. I'm going to try to resolve a Farewell then. That's nutty. Just tap to draw a card. Alright, I lose my board, and now hopefully everyone loses their everything. Well, it's a good thing that they're really distracted with all my Planeswalkers. For the record, they did choose a Gideon, which means that they might be trying to play another Tamio this turn. God, they have so many cards in hand. Discover the formula discounted is crazy. Okay, so that was not a land. I can't be taking 6 a turn. I just gotta kill everything. Hexproof indestructible. What's gonna survive? Okay. Man, Quandrix command really coming through for my opponent. That's impressive. Like, I might need to Memory Deluge on their turn next time around. Memory Deluge goes away. And now they're just going to have so much stuff to deal with. I just have another Supreme Verdict. Let's see. How many Quandrix commands are around here? Just one. They've shuffled everything else in. This is really, really interesting. So they run Quandrix command to reuse things, and then a bunch of things to perpetually discount. Okay, I want to play this deck now. It's somewhat expensive wildcard wise, but this is cool. Okay, so am I just going to take 4 damage? Teferi dies. Teferi actually doesn't die. No, yes he does. Maybe, do I need to just get a gauntlet out? What even is the right move here? They continue to hold up that Geist Channeler too, which I'm surprised about. I think I just Memory Deluge here. Another Discover the formula for, was that just for 2 mana? Nutty. Wow, Tamio's Notebook is pretty backbreaking. Quandrix's Apprentice. Wow, and they're just going to eventually get all their lands into their hand. Okay. Let them do that thing. And wait for this trigger to go off and then Memory Deluge. Alright, just do this now. Yeah, they keep taking Planeswalkers. I think they're trying to discount Tamios or something. Wow. We have a Supreme Verdict. I'm going to take a second farewell. So we didn't get the land. Yikes. I just have to jam a farewell and reset the board. Holy shoot. Alright, let's focus up here. What's happening? What's our opponent doing? They want to play more stuff. I cannot believe they've only like... Oh, that's just 2 mana. Amazing. This is incredible. This really makes use of all the perpetual discount mechanics. Thank God we finally found a land. I have to just choose everything here. This would be nice. If they have a counterspell, I think they would have cracked that off immediately. I don't know. Yeah, they're gonna just return stuff to their hand with a yeah, another Quandrix command. Okay. Sheesh. Okay, so it looks like Farewell gets to resolve. Okay. I feel like I've accomplished something, but I don't feel like I've accomplished that much. Look at how many cards they have in their hand. For what it's worth, they don't seem to have that many counter spells. So I think I just need to start playing as if they don't have that many counter spells. Artifact or enchantment spell in Quandrix command. What was the thing that countered my spell earlier? I think it's in their library, so I don't know. Prologue to Pheresis. I can Fateful Absence, Prologue. I could Ichor Moon and Fateful Absence. They're eventually going to get to a state where they're just redrawing all their spells. Supreme Verdict plus one of these other things is good too. Just remove the board. Then I can Prologue or Fateful. This is just a relentless wave of cards coming from my opponent. Okay. Sludge monster. Does that help them in any sort of way? Lose all abilities. Huh. I'm gonna kill that. I don't want them to have a 5/5. They're gonna get to draw again, which is annoying, but what can I do? Maybe they can protect it. They have Tamiya's safekeeping. The Big Brother to Growth Spiral, Eureka moment. Look at it go. Oh, absorb energy again. Wow. Okay. What happens here? Do I farewell? They're tapped out finally. 4 cards. Teferi can phase it out. That's really not valuable, is the problem. That seems to be their finisher. I don't know. I am not sure if this feels right to me. Hopefully that was a 1 of, or 2 of. They got 28 cards in deck. If anyone is to mill first, it's them. I'm going to try to resolve an Ichor Moon Gauntlet. If the first one gets countered, we can do a second one. Hey, my thing has Tamio on it too. I didn't even know that. Very cool. I wonder if that's why we matched up with them. That would be hilarious. So I guess, okay. So we actually do get something back here. I'm gonna use my prologues. I didn't play a land yet this turn, so I'm gonna actually do that. Do they counter this? Really? Really? Oh, they're gonna bounce my Acre Moon, aren't they? Bummer. Well, them bouncing Acre Moon is not the worst thing. Now I need a way to kill Hullbreaker. So, what does this deck do? Oh! Wait a minute. Is this target permanent? Do they have a way to bounce, like flicker a creature if they discount it enough? Like, they can make Hullbreaker enter a bunch of times. Oh, channeling into Seiju. Okay. We will take a land. I have been looking for one of these. Submit one. This will enter tapped. Oh, could I have put some... Oh, I could have actually done a prologue. Bummer. Alright. I have to memory deluge into an answer. Fair play. They're going to counter it. Shoot. No, they're not going to. Wrath of God, Fateful Absence seems pretty good to me. I'm going to Fateful Absence it. Please. Oh, Quandrix Command. That is awesome. Okay, I at least do get that back. They can even just, can they do that again? I'm like, I don't even know. I'm gonna at least do this on their turn. So that helps a little. But I mean, I'm dead if they counter this, so. Oh, I think they're gonna give it indestructible. Inscription of Abundance. Alright, they got me. Nothing we could have done. An opponent does get to move into their combat phase and kill me. Hullbreaker Horror from coast to coast. Alright. Well, we finally made it to the end. And boy, have we had some cool games. So this is the Azorius Planeswalker Proliferation Infect deck. We'll have to think of a better name for that, but this thing is so much fun. I'd highly recommend playing this. This is one of the ones that is probably in the A or S tier if I were to make a tier list for my decks. And yeah, all around a good bit of fun. Thank you guys for sticking with me throughout these 7 games. If you liked what you saw, do drop a like or a subscribe. Helps me out a lot. Also, go check out Bosch and Roll if you're into watching any legacy content or just kind of want to support the channel that originally produced this deck. Thank you for them to making all of this stuff public. Anyway, that is it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and have a good day.